Christians. My brother here says that we are allowed to think, analyze, and separate metaphors from literalism in a rational way. I can tell this is a person who likes to come off or sound and may be profound in some circumstances, but this isn't one of them. And here's what I'm saying, and I'm not trying to insult this person. You are allowed to think, and you should. You are allowed to analyze, and you should. But separating metaphors from literalism is not something you can do when it comes to the scriptures. The text, the context, always establishes how we are to interpret it. So you cannot separate metaphors from literalism in a rational way. You have to read what the context requires in a literal way. And God's way is the way it needs to be understood, the way he communicated us and the way he intended to communicate it to us. So when you say rational, whose standard of rationale are we talking about? Yours or God's? Or yours or the apostles? Yours or the prophets? No. What the prophet or the apostle or the Lord himself, what he intended is made clear in the text. Just like when Christ talks in parables, he tells you this is a parable. So you and I do not get to separate metaphors from literalism because the metaphor might have a literal application and what is literal may be metaphorical. Either way can be rational, but it depends on what is established in the context. And that is what needs to be understood, the context, not you making determinations on what's metaphorical and what's literal. For instance, the mark of the beast, which always comes up a lot. A lot of people will say it is literal. Some people will say it's symbolic. But it can be symbolic and literal at the same time. So you have to understand what it means. The Bible in Revelation specifies in the very opening chapter that the angel is going to be showing John all these things by signs and symbols. He says that. And yet, men to this day cannot help being tempted to interpret everything in Revelation as literal, in spite of the fact that we're told symbols are being used. So, now I don't mean this to be an attack on you, my friend, but your conclusion is not acceptable. Be provoked, be persuaded.